What is up, guys? My name is Hassan, and welcome back to another dividend investing hashtag good investing. When I say good investing, what are we talking about? We're actually talking about being consistent. We're talking about being disciplined. It is better to stick with a steady, consistent performer rather than to move in and out of fund trying to catch the next wave. In other words, stick with solid growth companies that has been performing well for years to come. Today, I'm going to give you guys a stock analysis video on a company that hardly anyone else is talking about. The ticker is KL. So I'm going to type that in. This company has went up by 700% in the last 5 years. I'm actually one of the shareholders. I'm going to scroll down and show you guys my holding. So the ticker symbol is KL. So you guys can see right here, it's called Kirkland Lake Gold, ticker symbol KL. I have about 42.14 share. The reason why it says 0.14 because it's actually a fractional share. So in other words, I have about 42 shares of this company. So if we click on 5 years, we can see that this company went up by almost 800% in the last 5 years, or even less than 5 years. At the same time, they have been growing their dividend year after year. So if you guys look right here, only 4,400 people are invested in this company, Kirkland Gold. This is a very unpopular company, and that is actually good because we can get in before everybody else gets in. So we can see that Kirkland Gold was around about 4,400. This has 233,000 people actually own this company. It's actually top 100 popular companies, and Kirkland Gold is not. As always, before we give you guys a stock analysis video, I have to give you guys a quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor, nor do I know you personally or your financial situation. I'm not responsible for any of your gains or loss in the stock market. My suggestions are only suggestions. That does not mean you go out and buy these stocks. And also, I'm not here to certify if a certain company is halal or haram. In other words, in terms of Islamic perspective, is it permissible or impermissible to invest? This is just a place for you to do your own due diligence. Just because I buy something, that doesn't mean you should buy it. You should always do your own research. Another disclaimer that I want to point out to you guys, all the information that I present to you guys are not mine. I get them from other people, books, articles, 10K, 10Q, their websites, their annual presentations, annual reports. The only thing that might be mine is my experience and my emotions that are playing a role in investing. So let's get started. So you guys can see that this is my Robinhood portfolio. Is currently at around $22,500. So if we look at it for one day, I'm up about 0.5%. 1 week, I'm up about 1.3%, or almost $300. For 1 month, I made about almost $1,400, or 6.7%. If we look at it for the last 3 months, I'm up about 15%. And then if we look at it for the 1 year, I'm up about 6%, which is almost market average, I think. So here you guys can see that we had a major dip because of the pandemic, and I took a huge advantage of this, buying as much as I can, and that way my rebound is a lot quicker. By looking at my portfolio, you only see that I only made 6% for the year, and you might think, oh man, that's not a lot. That's not the purpose. My purpose of my portfolio is to actually collect dividend income. Yes, I have about 6% in capital appreciation. I also get about 3 to 4% in annual dividend payment, and that's what I'm going to show you guys next. You guys can see that one of the main reasons why I invest as an investor is for these dividend income. You can see here, this is my monthly income. So if we go for the last few months, we can see in January I made 19, February 25, March about $51, April 27, 30, and then May 34. As we continue on in the trend, as the months were going, I were collecting dividends payments of $50, $30, $40. Eventually will reach one of my goals, which is to get $100 in dividend payments. Another thing that I want to point out is that if you guys have been following me, two public portfolios. One of them is M1 Finance, which I got for the month of May, $20.82. For Robinhood, I got 34. So the month of May, I received $55 in cash dividend payment, which I used to invest in other companies. So going back here, yes, you might think, oh, I'm not making much. I only made 6%, but by collecting those dividends around $50, $40, $60 each month, they actually add up to quite significant amount of dividends. As guys, if you guys started following me, make sure you guys make one of these charts so you can visually see how much money you're coming in, how much money your portfolio is generating. So now let's get back to the stock analysis video. Guys, if you made it this far, make sure you guys subscribe and like the channel as always to help other people, because I bring to you guys companies that hardly anybody else is talking about. So let's go to Kirkland Gold. You can see that currently they're at $48 a share. I'm not a person who only talk about investing. I actually do, which you guys can see right here. It's crazy. We have all these YouTubers who are presenting or doing these stock analysis video, but they don't even hold the stocks, or they say, "Oh, I'm not buying it yet," or "It's too high," or "I'm gonna wait for it." And then even when it pulls back, they end up buying something else, even though they're making these stock analysis video, but they don't back it up by holding it themselves. And you guys can see here, I have currently 42 shares, and I'm looking to add a lot more share as time goes, as I put in more money, which equals out to $951. So one of the first things I like to do is when I'm analyzing company, I like to go to Seeking Alpha. So make sure you guys create an account. It's free. So that way you have access to the analysis that I'm going to show you guys. So here we have Seeking Alpha. We can see that I went under financials overview. Kirkland Gold engages in acquisition, exploration, and development of operation of gold properties. In other words, they invest and buy out these gold mines and eventually open pit gold mines, and then they extract the gold from it. And the properties include in Australia, and these principal properties are included in Australia and in Ontario, Canada. So they're invested in 2 locations, Canada and Australia. So literally here we can see that they hardly provide any information on what this company does. All we know that it's a gold mining company. So we're going to go on to their website to get a little bit more information. This is what you guys should follow. You guys should go to Seeking Alpha, read the company description, the profile, and then you guys should look at their profile, or you guys should go look at their website to get more accurate information. So we're going to click on Kirkland Gold website, and then we can go to About Us to get a little bit more information. So I'm going to scroll down on who we are. Top, it says Kirkland Gold is focused on bringing value to its shareholders. So this is really important. This is a company that cares about its shareholders. And this is a good sign, because there's so many companies out there that are not looking to profit the shareholders. So I'm going to scroll down to About Us. We can see that Kirkland Gold is growing gold producer operating in Canada and Australia. In the year 2019, they made about 974,000 ounces of gold, and their prediction for the next year, which I'm going to get to in a bit. Our production profile is high quality operation that includes in Maine, Detour, and Northern Ontario. So they currently have, if we look on the right side, they currently have about 5 producing mines. The reason why we should invest in this company, they're saying, is that this is supported by strong balance sheets. Our goal is to increase shareholder value. This is really important because that's one of the main focus, and growing low cost production, which is another important. They're making these gold mines that they cost very little to operate. A key driver of our success continues to be our commitment exploration, where we have a solid track record for growing reserves, identifying new areas of high grade gold mineralization, and in support of shareholders' returns, we have paid a quarterly dividend since July 2000. We have currently 5 producing mines. They have about 2,500 employees, and they have 2 countries that they're operating in. They're operating in Canada and Australia. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is that these 2 countries are very important, because there's a lot of turmoil that is going around the world, and these are 2 countries that are safe, and they don't have any countries that are politically stable, and they don't have issues of bombs dropping on them. So another thing I want to point out is that their prediction for the 2020 is 1.3 million ounces of gold to 1.4. Another thing that I want to point out that not hardly anyone looks at is the contact us. So here, if we go under contact us and we scroll down, we see about investors inquiry, and then they provide us with an email. So anytime we want, we can, as an investor, we can always send them an email, maybe asking them questions about, are they looking to add any new debt, or are they looking to add new mines? And any personalized questions that we have, we can tell them we're a shareholder and we're looking to invest more, and maybe you want to give us some information that are not out yet, or maybe any general questions that we can directly contact the company and they should reply back. So we should definitely utilize this tool about reaching out to the actual company for any questions or any concerns that we have as a shareholder. So we're going to go back to Seeking Alpha and we're going to look at the valuation. One of the first things I like to look at is how much is the company worth. If I were to buy this whole company all at once, how much would it cost me? And that is the market cap. So currently the market cap is around $13.1 billion. So if I were to buy this whole company as a whole, I would have to pay this much. The next thing I like to look at is their price to earning ratio. Currently it's at 16.3, so which I would consider undervalued, or it's good. Anything under 18 or anything under 20 is a great value. Another reason why we're investing it because this is a hyper growth company. Even though it's a dividend company, usually dividend companies are slower, but this one is different. This one's special. It's a lot of hyper growth, and we're going to show you guys how this company has been growing so fast. And the next thing about growth is we look at their PEG, their PEG ratio. I just want to quickly go over what is a PEG ratio that we're talking about, the PEG ratio of 0.19. So if we go to Investopedia, PEG ratio, according to a well-known investor, Peter Lynch, which we all like, a company's PE and expected growth should be equal to each other. In other words, the PEG ratio comes by we taking the PE ratio divided by their growth, and we get the PEG ratio. Anything with a PEG ratio of 1 is considered a fair value. Anything over it is considered overvalue. Anything less than 1 is considered undervalue. So based on that, on the PEG ratio, it is way less than 1. So it has a PEG ratio of 0.19. And I think that this company is going to grow like crazy, and that's why we're invested. And remember, just because I say something, that does not mean you should go out and invest in this. Guys, I want to just point out another growth company that we all know, a very well-known company known as Facebook. So if we look at their PEG ratio, because this is a growth company, we want to compare it with another growth company. Their PEG ratio is about 3.9, almost 4. So this is definitely, they're considered, based on this metric, they're saying that Facebook is overvalued at around $230. Great PE, great PEG ratio, and this shows the valuation is still good. Next thing we do is we go to their financials. We can see the revenue is 2015. It was around 173, 2016, 403 million, 2017, 747, 2018, 915, 2019 is 1.3 million in revenue. We can see that in December it's 1.3 billion in revenue, and then in the last trailing 12 months we can see that here is around 1.6 billion. So if we look at the revenues, and we can see the little graph right here, the revenue is consistently growing year after year, and this is what we want to look for, something that is growing over 15% year after year. And this is a great sign that the company is growing, it's making money. So just because their revenue is growing, that does not mean it's a great company, because we have a lot of companies that continue to make a huge amount of money, but they're not making any profits. So the next thing we want to do is look at their profits. Are the profits also growing or not? So this is a nice consistent growth year after year. We can see that it has popped in 2019. Remember that this is a gold company. One of the reasons why we can see is hyper growth, or this increase in growth, is because the price of gold. And we know that generally the trend of price of gold is up. It never decreases. It always has been increasing. Gold is the real currency. The dollar, we can just print more, but the gold, we can't print more. Only we can do is mine more, and there's a very limited amount of supply that we have on earth. We increase about, I think, roughly around 2.5% or 3% of gold, or it might even be less. So gold is not abundant like how the dollar is. This company is making so much money that is ridiculous. If we look at their profitability, we can see that their gross profit margin is A+ according to Seeking Alpha, which is about 74%. Their sector is around 26%, but Kirkland Gold is making 70%. Another crazy thing that I want to point out is their net income profit margin is about 40%. This is crazy. This is like tech-like investment, tech-like growth, or tech-like profit. So again, if we look at Facebook, and if we look at their profitability, we can say that yes, Facebook, a great growth company, has a profit margin of 81%, which is great. But if we look at their net income margin, it's only 28%. And Kirkland Gold is actually a lot higher. It is at 40%. Even though it's not a tech company, but it's actually doing better than a tech company in terms of income, which is a great sign, great healthy outlook for the company moving forward. So guys, next thing I want to do is we want to go back to their website to dig a little deeper, because we want to have a full understanding. Before we put our money into, we should have a very good understanding of the company, what it does in and out, how everything is running before we put our hard-earned cash into this company to grow our investment. So we're back at the website. And if we look at on the top here, and really nice thing that they can show us, they show us that the current gold price per ounce in USD is around almost $1,900, which has increased massively in the last few days. So if we scroll down here, they're projected for 2020, they're expected to make 1.3 million ounce of gold to 1.4 million. So if we take this number, we're going to pull out my calculator, and we're going to actually go on the low end of it. So we're going to put we have 1.3 million ounces of gold that they're going to produce in 2020. We're going to times it by 1900, because that's how much 1 ounce is worth. We get about $2.5 billion in revenue that they're expecting for the year 2020. They're expecting around $2.5 billion. So if we look at it here, if we go back to Kirkland Gold, we're expected for 2019. We're at currently 2019, it was 1.3 billion or 1.4 billion. But however, according to our calculator, the calculation that we did, that for the year of 2020, they're going to reach almost or up to $2.5 billion in revenue, which is a massive growth for this company. And I don't think the company has priced this in, because the company is still worth around $38 or $48. The reason why I said 38 is because that's when I started buying into this company, and why you guys should take a look at it. And guys, we're not done with the analysis yet. I want you guys to stick around until the end, because we're going to go really in depth into this company. So we're going to know inside and out. And this is about to be my number 2 greatest holding of all time. Currently, my number 1 holding is AMD, as you guys know. My number 2 is going to be Kirkland Gold. As always, guys, if you guys made it this far, make sure you guys hit the like button, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. It helps me reach out to more. Remember, in the investing world, we're actually on the same team. We're not against each other. So another thing that I want to point out is that I'm a Muslim investor. Remember, as a Muslim investor, we have to look at their debt and their interest payment. So the next thing we want to do, in general, it is very important to look at a company's debt or in their balance sheet. So if we scroll down, we went Seeking Alpha again, we're under overview, and we're going to scroll down. If we look under the balance sheet, their short-term debt is 0. Their long-term debt is also 0. This is a very good healthy company, a very well-run company. As you guys can see, it has 0 short-term and 0 long-term debt. So another thing I want to go back and now is look at their interest payment. So we're actually back in the income statement. We're going to scroll down to look at their interest payment. The interest payment is right here. We can see that here around they are for the last 12 months, trailing 12 months TTM. They actually did pay about $1.5 billion or 1.5 million in interest payment. So we're going to see how that is compared to their gross profit, not their revenue. So we're going to pull out our calculator. We're going to clear this out. We're going to do 1.5 million divided by 1.214 million. And we get that this company is, we move the decimal over 2 decimal places to get the percent. This company pays around, let's actually times this by 100. So this company pays around 0.1% of their gross profit in interest payments. So pretty much almost 0%, but normally we want it to be, as a Muslim investor, we want the interest payment to be completely 0, no interest payment at all. So moving forward, they have 0 debt. So hopefully they're not going to pay any more interest moving forward. As always, this is a great sign, healthy sign. 0 debt is what we like. The interest is a little problematic. Hopefully as the years go, they completely get rid of it. So next thing we want to do is we want to go back to their website. Remember, we're looking at their financials. We're also looking at their outlook. It is not enough just to look at their books. We have to look at their projection, their future, their story of the company. A lot of people just look at the books and they decide, and some people just look at the story, their growth, and not look at their financials. So it is really important that we look at both worlds. So we're going to go back to their website, and we're going to scroll down to look at their latest investors presentation. So before we show you guys the annual presentation, I want to give you guys 5 reasons why we should invest in Kirkland Gold according to their website. For number 1 is that in 2020, they're expected to produce around 1.5 million ounce of gold at a price of $1,900, which is going to generate huge amount of money. Number 2, that this company is making so much money that they don't even know what to do with it. They're highly profitable and has a amazing cash flow. Number 3 is that they have a strong balance sheet with 0 debt, which is awesome. And then number 4 is they have a significant exploration potential and organic growth. Recently, they just obtained one of their mines in cash, and they're looking to grow as the time goes on. Number 5 is that they have a great track record, a great management, because if we go back to our Kirkland Gold, we can see that in the 5 years they have returned to the shareholders, or their value in the share price has increased almost 800%, one of the best for the country of Canada. Remember, this is an awesome management that is producing awesome results. Now I want to show you guys the latest annual or investor presentation. And before we get started, I want to just show you guys the date, so we know that this is from July 2020. So this is the very latest presentation for our investors. So here we can see the amount of assets that they have or are in operation. Currently, the company has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 operating mines. Currently, one of them is in hold. We can see that their production, a strong production with low unit costs. This is the important part, that low unit cost. Even though they're producing huge amount of gold, it doesn't cost them as much to produce these. We can see that the production is increasing year after year, but this is what we want to see. So if we scroll down, another thing, that strong growth, strong earnings, strong cash flow. In 2016, the company was making around 35 cents per share, but now in 2019 they were making $2.67 per share, and then in 2020 it's going to be even more. That means more earnings per share, more return back to the shareholders. Remember, this is a company that wants to give back wealth back to their shareholders. Again, that in 2020, according to in June 30th, they have $537 million in cash with 0 debt. Another thing, that Detour facility, the company or the mine that they purchased it out of shares, and they purchased it in cash. So pretty much they acquired no debt to buy. So if somebody's buying this huge mine with cash, that means that this is an awesome company. They know what they're doing, and they're a solid company that didn't have to take any loans to acquire a mine like this. And I give my hats off to the management for doing this. Even though when the interest rate is so low, they still said, no, we don't want no interest, we don't want no debt, we're going to buy this cash because we're a very well run company. Again, here we can see that June 30th, they're just showing us some guidance. They actually decreased the guidance, but still they're making a ton of money. So as long as they're making money, the shareholders are happy. This is page 9 of their presentation. This is called returning capital to the shareholder. This is what I like. In 2020, they purchased 11 million shares for $380 million, which is great. I like share buybacks, and they're also increasing their dividend. They increased their dividend 6 times since 2017. In 2017, they were paying out 1 cent per share. Going back all the way to 2020, we can see a consistent amount of growth, and they made about 12 cents in dividend payment every quarter. Another thing, we can see that in 2000, we can see that double dividend in Q1 of 2020. So we can see that in Q4 of 2019, they're paying out 6 cents. But in Q1, they're paying out 12.5 cents, more than double, or at least double in dividend payments. I actually expect them to continue to grow this dividend massively and quickly because the company is making so much money. Before we end this, I want to talk about Detour Lake. This is the mine, this open pit mine that they purchased in cash payment. So we're going to scroll down a little bit. We can see that Detour Lake mine is one of the largest open pit gold deposit that has a great potential. So another thing that I want to point out is that currently for the year of 2019, they produced 602 kilo ounce of gold from this one mine, which is a significant amount of gold came from just this one mine. Another thing I want to point out is that this mine has a reserve life for the next 20 years, which is awesome, because if we're investing today, we know that they're going to continue to produce gold from that mine for the next 20 years coming. By then, they'll have few other mines opened up. So this is a very well-run company that is going to generate at least for the next 20 years, which is a great sign. As an investor, we're looking forward to it. I'm going to be continuing to buy more shares. Remember, just because I buy shares, that does not mean you should go out and buy these shares. As always, thank you. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel. See you next time. Take care.